I was sitting there like most people do, watching NBA on TNT last night. By the way, finally love the fact that it's on Mondays and Thursdays now. So I get my primetime basketball Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night, and then the big game on Saturday night. Think that stuff is great. What's not great right now at the moment is this perception of the league. There's this thought that there's two really great teams, or most people, I'll say three. Most people give you the Cavaliers, the Spurs, and the Warriors as their three great teams. And everyone else, more or less, is just some doo-doo at this point. So I want to conflict that line of thinking or add another perspective into it, which is it's not about how good those three teams are or how less you think of the other teams, but it's simply this is what the NBA has always done. The NBA, more so than the NFL, more so than Major League Baseball, and even more so than the National Hockey League, has always been a copycat league. And for very unjust reason, might I add. You had, with its inception, the big man was the most important person in basketball. Take it back to Russell, Chamberlain. Everyone's like, oh, you got to have a big guy. You got to have someone you can throw the ball down to the post and get you easy points. Mr. Charles Barkley's message that he's repeated a million times. Then it went from there to teams tried to get Twin Towers. You had McHale and Parrish in Boston. You had Olajuwon and Sampson in Houston. You had Duncan and Robinson in San Antonio. You know, you see one guy do it. You see someone else tries to recreate it. And that part's fine for the most part. That's what we all do that. You see something that works, you try to do it as well. You go from the Twin Towers to now everybody wants a duo. You want the next Magic Kareem. You want Jordan Pippen. You want Kobe Shaq. Oh, everyone's got to have a duo on their team. Then we go from there to the big three trend. Obviously starting with Boston. The Lakers tried it a couple times, even though they never really got it going with Kobe, Gasol, and they tried Bynum. They tried Ron Artest, now Metta World Peace. And then, obviously, you had LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh in Miami. Then you have now the Warriors, even though the Warriors are more of a big four, but still the same process. And now the current trend that everyone's trying to do is small ball. Everyone's trying to go 4 or 5 shooters on the court and trying to get as many threes up as possible. The reason why the copycat league turns the league into 2 or 3 great teams is because not everyone can do this. Just because one guy or one set group of guys can make this style work does not mean that it's an effective style you can copy and duplicate among 30 teams in the league. My example, you're not going to have, if you're trying to create Twin Towers, you're not going to have Duncan and Robinson. You're not going to have McHale and Parrish. If you're trying to make a great duo, you're not going to have Kobe and Shaq. You're not going to have Jordan and Pippen. It's just not going to happen. That's why those guys are iconic. That's why those guys have staying power. When you have these big threes teams try to make, you know, you're not always going to have LeBron James, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh at the height of their careers. You're not going to have Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, which is more of a mental fit more so than a physical fit. But they made it work and they got a title. With small ball, you're not going to have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Those are 2 of the best shooters ever and one of the most versatile players ever. You're not going to have a James Harden and all those 3-point shooters in Houston. Like, everyone's making this case that Cleveland's adjusting their roster to play Golden State. They're going small. Well, yeah, you can do that kind of thing when LeBron James is on your team. You can do that kind of thing, like I said, when you have Steph Curry and you have Klay Thompson on your team, when you have James Harden running point guard for you. I'm looking at a team right now. You can't do that if you're Drew Holiday. Did not work for the Pelicans going small. So what did they do? Acquire DeMarcus Cousins, and they're like, we're going to try to play to this strength, that we're going to have the most size, and we're going to use that as our way to win. The systems and this whole copycat mentality is just completely overrated. Great players are great no matter what the system. Michael Jordan was going to be great whether he played small ball, whether he played in the 60s, or how he played in the 80s and 90s. We all love to think that, Greg Popovich's system is what's made him great over 20 years. Well, yeah, so did Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. Phil Jackson's system, the triangle, is so revered. Well, yeah, so is Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. You've got to stop in the NBA trying to just copy what has worked and simply do what works for your players. In football, you can get away with it a little bit more. You've got 22 guys that you've got to work with. You can systematically figure out a way to take someone out of a game or put someone into a game in football. Whereas basketball is the one sport where one star can flat out dominate the game for a minute, from tip-off all the way to the end of the game. If your roster does not have three-point shooters, you don't play small ball. If your roster does not have 7-footers, you do not play big. If your roster has those things, go for it. Play to the strengths of your roster. We need to cut this copycat stuff out. It's just not working. And that's why we're seeing such a lower performance from so many of these teams, because they want to play like Golden State. They want to play like Cleveland. And they're not. You don't have LeBron James. I'm sorry. You don't have Stephen Curry. I'm sorry.